A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Opinions?
No, that's not an opinion. It's a fact.
Just thought I'd use that one. Anyway, hello and welcome to our Wheel of Time discussion series. We're now going to be discussing Lord of Chaos, Book 6 in the Wheel of Time. We're going to be full spoilers for everything in the series up to the end of Book 6. But we will be doing a lot of discussion of like the pros, the cons, stuff we like, stuff we dislike. I think a lot of our we're going to agree on quite a few things in this one, at least in terms of the pros and cons. But maybe not. This might be spicy. But anyway, allow me to bring in my guest. First off, the wonderful and magical
Kaka.
welcome to Dr. Crow. And we also have our second guest. Please welcome the lovely and artistically talented
Hello, hello.
Hello, Blue.
I love that that's my clip on your stream. So great.
Yeah, the other alternative I was thinking was I'm blue, I believe I would die.
Yes, also would have been very applicable.
Yeah, indeed. Well, kind of like this is our Lord of Chaos discussion. So like kind of before we kind of get into like the meat of the plot, what are kind of your guys' overall thoughts on the book? And how does it rank for you in the series so far?
It good. I'll probably rate it is about somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
But it's not obvious because I've said this about every stream now. There's a portion of the books that I think the fandom refers to as the rut or
the slog.
And
yeah,
I definitely see it starting to happen. I definitely see why they call it that.
For me, it was specifically the ladies in the first half of this book were kind of boring. Like, no offense, ladies, but come on, pick up the pace a little.
Yeah, that's a big like problem. They're really stuck.
Yeah.
In a bit of a plot cul-de-sac in Saladar for a little bit.
Yeah, like basically until, well, I guess I won't talk about it yet. But yeah, there's a big switch up that makes it more interesting. But yeah, for maybe even the first 2/3 of the book, honestly.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about it more when we get to them.
Yeah.
Most of that could have been cut.
Yeah, I would definitely concur with that one. That like just even as somebody who likes the series, there's a lot of fat that could have been cut off. Like I do like a lot of like Rand stuff. I like Matt's kind of in a bit of a plot cul-de-sac of his own, where he's just kind of on the road.
Yeah, but Matt has
you didn't
some
get
interesting.
Well, and you didn't get too much of him either. Like he was like a chapter here, a chapter there. The girls were like, a decent chunk of the book. So
yeah, the girls take up definitely like half of the book on their own.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's a big problem, like writing wise, because there's not a whole lot of tension driving it. It just kind of seems like the plot comes in later, but we'll get to that when we get to it. We start off with the longest prologue yet.
It was 2 parts.
Yeah, it's long. They go through a lot of people in that. Like, you meet like a ton of new Forsaken in this chapter.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it
love
was-
meeting the villains. The villains finally have character. Oh, they feel like people.
Yeah.
I
You get a lot
almost
of
say
Forsaken chapters, period, in this, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
yes. It's definitely obvious he had way too many villains to properly use when he was writing this. Because like the Forsaken we've met up to this point, they've were like, oh, this is Aginor, and he's dead now.
Mustache twirler number 1 and mustache
Yeah.
twirler number 2.
Yep. And then there's the short guy who's almost completely decomposed. Don't think anything cool is going to come of him and like undead or anything because he's clearly based off liches. He gets killed by the Green Man.
Well,
Do I have them backwards?
No, you. So there was kind of one guy who's like completely covered up by a mask and everything, and then there's the old man. But so did you notice that there are 2 new characters that were introduced, Osangar and Arengar, that apparently like they got transmigrated or something?
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, like, because it seemed like, I mean, like, were they brought back to life or were they just different characters before? And then, like, they got put in new bodies. Like, I get that the one ended up being the girl who's actually a guy, which is why she can use that part of the power, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused as to whether they were
Yeah.
Forsaken that had died and been brought back,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I thought at first, or...
So there is a clue in there that says that Osangar remarks that the Murdral was his creation just as much as the Trollocs were. And kind of almost as if he were in the Age of Legends when the Trollocs were made.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And it has been hinted before that the Dark One has power over the grave. That's his whole big shtick, is that he, even if you die, you cannot escape him.
yeah. Yeah.
Raptor and Top Hat, welcome. Not talking about Shrek. I will warn you that this is going to be full of spoilers for like the middle book in the Wheel of Time series. So,
And all the books previous.
oh yeah,
Yeah. There is kind of and we also for the first time in the series we get to see Shale Ghul,
yes.
which is
Oh, it's so haunting.
yeah, it's a really creepy place.
You get the feeling that something bad happened here. It's just like this place should not exist.
Yeah, there's a weird feeling that it's outside of time.
Mm-hmm. They
And
refer to it also as the boar, which is
yeah, it
which
is
not a great name.
Yeah. Well, I think it's partially because like a hole was bored.
Yeah, that's the thing, but
It's just a weird name. Yeah, it's hard to make the boar sound intimidating.
Although we do get to see like how the Murdral swords are getting made,
Which is
Kind of.
creepy.
which
Which
makes
is-
them even more creepier. Yeah.
Or basically they kill people in order to basically temper it with their souls.
Oh, it's not just kill them; it's like it's made out of them too, and then it has to kill them. Like it sucks the soul into it. And it's like,
Yeah. It's really freaky.
and then we finally get what I would refer to as like the Vader character, this super Murdral who's apparently even over the Forsaken. It's just
Yeah. Shida Haran is a very intriguing mystery throughout the series of what exactly he is. Like, it does seem as though he has some kind of power, but it's really strange what he does, what he's able to do.
I kind of like what I'm thinking of it right now. It's kind of like how the Dark One took over. Is it Samael in
Yeah.
the first guy?
Yeah.
The first guy who was calling himself Bahal.
Balsman, yeah.
Alsman, yeah. I think it's something sort of similar to that. The Dark One possessed this Murdral minion of his. definitely some sort of major blessing on him.
Mm,
And seeing how the Forsaken have been behaving, I wouldn't trust them either. It's just like these idiots are not getting anything done. They're too busy fighting amongst themselves most of the time to do what I need them to do.
howdy.
Hello, Occupation Army.
Hello.
Yeah. We do at least get Demondred relaying information
We finally get to
to
meet Demon Dread.
yeah. And it seems as though him and Samael are cut from the same cloth in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Because they both hate Luz Theron, but Samael is more he's more skeptical. Demondred kind of accepts it, but Samael's kind of like, nah, he's a upjumped farmer. I can't really eat him. It wouldn't be really beating Luz Theron.
Samuel's not exactly the sharpest tool in the shed either. He's a very direct and blunt man.
Yeah, he thinks that he's conniving, but he's kind of obvious.
He's kind of just a brute.
Yeah, very much a brute. But and it's interesting because he's paired with Grandal, this chick right here, who's possibly one of the schemiest characters apart from Lanfear. She's definitely one of the smarter ones.
Yeah, she was interesting to me, apart from being, like really creepy with her whole using people as furniture type of setup that she's got going on.
Yeah, she is. She's got messed up in the mind.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's
She gives them the mad scientist trope. Definitely comes to mind with her.
I wouldn't even say it's that so much as it's very much that they leaned into a kink, but as an evil thing trope. Let's be honest.
She's basically a live porn addict.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe Grandal. It's just she likes watching people have sex. And so she just basically stole a bunch of both attractive and powerful people to put in her collection.
And she's made them do a whole acrobat act too.
Which is just like, you got problems, lady. You're messed up, but she still kind of leans into it and says, yeah, it's fine. I'll just lean into it and use it and make people think I'm a bimbo when in reality I'm actually much smarter than most of the other people in the room.
Definitely off-putting.
Yeah. Then you have, since it kind of seems that right now the Forsaken is kind of divided into two factions. What was left of the faction from the previous book, which used to be Ravine, Lanfear, Samael, and Grandal, which is now reduced to just Samael and Grandal. And then you have Demondred, Moginian, and Cimarog as their own little faction, with Grandal kind of as a go-between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if we also get a lot more about the politics, about what the Nameless actually is. And I was pretty much right. The Nameless is whoever gets to be possessed by the Dark One, essentially.
Yeah, his regent on Earth.
Yeah.
His regent on Earth. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. So do you think that
Which it looks like it's going to be...
So do you think it's Shida Haran, or do you think it's someone, or do you think it's one of the Forsaken?
I'm wanting to say it's Shida Haran, but I mean, would the Dark One really possess a Murdrol?
Well, it's kind of like
I look at the behavior.
I don't think it's actually
Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. Go for it. Oh, I was. So,
I see the behavior.
We keep talking over. You go. I'll shut up.
All right. I see the behavior of the Forsaken ones and how they're kind of not getting anything done, and whenever they act, they just kind of make everything worse. Rand has beaten them every time he's gone up against them.
I would say putting myself in the mindset of a big bad evil overlord type dude, to a certain extent it makes sense just as a threat even to have a big bad Murdrol that I don't know, kind of like put fire in their pants a little bit, be like, hey,
Mm.
just because, you know, you guys are strong with the power or whatever, I can still give favor to literally anyone I want, regardless of who and or what they are, you know?
Mm. Mm. Okay. So kind of like my assumption reading it the first time is that the Nameless was the Dark Lord's regent on Earth, his second in command. Not even that they're possessed by the Dark One, but they're like given special favor from him and are basically given command of the war effort. But that's just me.
Maybe. To me, it's like, I just don't, I still feel like I haven't seen enough of any of these characters to really say for sure.
Yeah. We do get a good slice of them where we get Demondred's envy, we get Cimarrog's psychopathy and
Yeah.
sadism, where she just clinically tortures somebody like she's a doctor going to dentist doing a root canal or something.
Yeah, we get
another
to see
day.
kind of like how
Go for
kind
it.
of get to see how she uses the power on an Aes Sedai.
Mhm.
Like apparently the wardens are something fairly new in terms of the scheme of the world.
So warders have been around for 3,000 years, but these people have been in a dreamless sleep for 3,000 years.
Yeah, that's kind of. I mean, in terms of this world, 3,000 years is nothing.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see them go. How did these, as they keep calling them, half-trained children, figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
And then her just exploring them, and she accidentally pleasures a warder to death because she got distracted in her own thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cimarrog. Yeah, just the way that Cimarrog is able to really she is really freaky in a lot of ways. She's very
Cimarrog is who I was thinking of when I said mad scientist. I
yes,
got backwards.
yeah. Grandal's a live porn addict who's really who's masquerading her smartness behind stuff, and then Cimarrog is this psychotic sadist. It is who's like able to figure out the workings of the human body perfectly. But we also have an interesting one, which is Messana, who used to be a school teacher because she couldn't be a scientist. That's her. That's kind of what's funny to me. Is just like she's salty about not being a researcher, so she got shunted into teaching schools, which is hilarious to me.
Those who can't do, teach.
Yep. Yeah, perfect assessment.
Yeah, but apparently she's so good she became one of the 13 most dangerous people on the planet.
Yeah. Since she she basically was the propaganda machine in schools and basically taught children about the glories of the Dark One.
Yeah.
Which is brought up in this book actually when Rand is trying to mitigate Mazrim Taim's crimes by talking about the bad things that the Forsaken have done, and they did some bad things. They did some
awful war crimes.
Yeah.
And we're not just like talking about obliterating cities off the face of the map. No, they like took their time and had their fun.
Like Grandal killed the children of the parents that she stole because it would be a mercy. That's messed up. That's messed up. And Demondred like had an entire city fed to Trollocs because he thought they insulted him.
Yeah, the Forsaken are a wonderful group of villains now that we have them pared down to just a handful of them.
Yeah, we can get better characterization this way.
Yeah. Other than, he used to be the best friend of the previous dragon, and then he just gets blasted with balefire from Morghese. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know if he was best friend. I think he was like the envious. Like the only thing that he had over Luther was he beat him at a Stones game was Bilal. Yeah. Bilal's very loosely characterized. He's barely a character, I would honestly say.
His plot was to get Rand to get Caliborn out of its protection and then somehow take it from him.
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of
Half-baked is an understatement.
How'd that work out for you?
He didn't even get that far. Rand beat him in a sword fight.
Well, technically he beat Rand in a sword fight, and like he's like kind of going easy on him, and then Moraine killed him with balefire.
Yeah. Technicalities.
Yeah, technicalities. Yeah, and it's funny because like there was this whole elaborate setup to get the girls to Tyr as bait for Rand, but
Rand never even knew they were there.
Which is really funny when you think about it.
He didn't even find out till afterwards.
It's a funny subversion of the usual damsel in distress trope where it's just like the bad guy kidnaps them, but with the intent to use them as bait, but then the hero comes in anyway, not knowing about it. That's actually really like good.
Yeah, rather than just the damsel saving themselves, as the subversion usually goes. It's like, no, he didn't even know you guys were here. He's like, oh, good job, Matt.
Yeah, right. Like just in general, that whole book came together in a really entertaining way.
Yeah.
Like with that Aiel and Matt and just everything was funny.
Yeah. Especially like I think what the nice thing about this book is there's less cat fighting than in the last book.
Yeah, that is nice.
There was so much cat fighting. I forgot how much cat fighting there is in Fires of Heaven. Then I'm just like, wow, yeah, there's some real bad cat fighting in this. Since we mentioned Matt, Matt's, I guess, kind of in his own plot that kind of intersects with the Wonder Girls plot.
Yeah, they intercept towards the end of the book.
It's.
Let's talk a bit about what's going on with Matt, and then we can move on to how they intersect with the girls, and then talk about the girls, and talk about what's going on after that part.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Matt's basically on a road trip for the whole book.
Literally. Like, not even one. I mean, it has a purpose, but like not a direct enough one to make it entertaining. Like he's just gallivanting through the countryside.
He's like, it's me and the boys moving on over to Tyr.
And then he's like called away from that anyways, so it literally has no purpose.
They went nowhere.
Yeah, it's really funny that Rand had this whole plan that involved Matt going down to Tyr to lead the war effort against Samael.
The version, nonetheless.
And then
like, just kidding. Go pick up the pretty girl for me. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, I can understand why Matt's a little pissed off.
He's like, burn you, Rand. I hate doing this. Why do I have to be in this whole bloody stew all bloody time? And
he enjoys it. I will point it out, Matt slightly enjoys the attention. He likes all this.
He does, but he doesn't like being around Aes Sedai. And he gets thrown in, and he's like, loom a little, right?
Like, I also like that of like the three Taviran, he's probably what you would consider the least responsible, but he's the one that's like a dad now on accident. And not like the usual accidental way either. Like he adopted a child off the street. Like, okay.
Accidentally adopted a child.
Now the child is following him around and seems to be, well, it
rubbing
seems like
off on him.
Rubbing off on him, not literally. That would be terrible.
Done.
Why? We got one of the Dun laughs. Well, I think Dun got the Dun laugh from himself, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and what made him laugh like that is our reaction.
Yeah. I'm a terrible.
Anyway, ignoring that, I love the game of Fox and Snakes and how it's an unwinnable game.
Yeah, that's actually kind of
Um,
a good little life lesson in a way, you know.
Yeah. I want to get the poem for that. I've been meaning to look up the poem that goes with that game because I love that little poem.
Yeah, it's courage to strengthen, iron to bind, music to daze, iron to bind.
Because part of the prologues of the books is that they've been reciting of basically kind of like scripture or historical in-world history books about the events that we are going to read about. And they like tie in some sort of thematic way into what happens in the book.
Mm-hmm.
This one started off with a children's nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah,
it's kind of reminded me of Ring Around the Rosies in a way.
Yeah.
Which also has historical significance.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In a somewhat dark way.
It's a plague song.
Yeah.
Ring
Yeah.
Around the Rosies.
And the weirdest thing is it says so occasionally that it's like the fourth age, and technically they're in the third age, so what do you think that could mean?
Well, it's obviously just obviously the fourth age comes about when Rand fights the Dark One.
Okay. Kind of
Yeah,
in the
that
same
would
way.
make sense to me.
That's definitely where you would end an age in the start of a new era.
Or even maybe just since the things that are happening that we're seeing happening are supposed to already be in the fourth age, it could also be just like Rand's birth later on in history ends up being what starts it.
Oh yeah, I mean, like even in the book, and we'll get more into this with Rand, they talk about how the wheel of time just keeps turning, and eventually it all comes back around.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has to at some point, right? It's a wheel.
Yeah, the Herod Fell ring theory discussion.
Even then, this could be like the fourth age previous. Like this is
just
they're reading about what happened the last time because it's all happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Wheel of Time deals with a huge theme of reincarnation and fate and how things happen, essentially domino effects. This thing happened and then it caused this thing to happen, which causes this thing to happen, and how it's kind of circular. That's the big thing the Wheel of Time deals with.
Like how Rand is like the son of a lost princess of Andor.
Mm-hmm. And he would not have been born if
she had
somebody.
run off.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
And the
Okay.
prophecy-
So does that make him? I always get these two confused. Is that Gawain's brother then?
He's Galad's half brother. That is
Galad's
correct.
half. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Dark.
one of the two G names.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge problem with these books. Is the names. So a lot of the names are way too similar to one another.
The just the dark-haired white cloak.
Yeah. Goody two shoes. Got it.
Yeah. Whereas the Gawain's just
Kind of a jerk.
yeah, he's
I like
kinda
him.
jerk.
Okay,
Yeah.
so way down the line thing, but since Nim had that thing where she saw Berelain with someone in white, if she ends up with Galad, I think that would be very good for the both of them. He could calm her down, and she could help him loosen up a little.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. I hadn't even thought about that, Blue.
Yeah, considering that Galad's supposed to be the most handsome man in the series.
It's like supernaturally handsome too. It's like
To the point
Yeah,
where
it's-
Gawain, who is also apparently very handsome, is like, "No, I'm ugly compared to my brother."
Yeah.
it's like all but the straightest of men are able to resist.
Like it's kind of a funny joke in think Dragon Reborn, where a bunch of like Aes Sedai and novices and like full sisters are staring at Galad, really wanting to chomp on his bone. Oh, and they just like, and like they make a joke that like maybe he might get bonded if he isn't careful.
He gets hurt by Matt, and everyone flocked around him. It's like, oh no! The only person who did it was the warder who was training them. He's like, yep, that was going to happen.
It's gonna come back to bite him. There's gonna be an Aes Sedai that just really hates Matt because she hurt him, or he hurt him.
Knowing this book, that's something that would happen.
It's like one Aes Sedai that just held a grudge.
One.
It's his one bad luck. Just my luck for being Taviran.
Just your luck. Matt, everything has gone your way since you've left the Two Rivers, except for the dagger. And that was it.
Yeah, he's the head of
his
an
girlfriend
army.
trying to kill him and being the head of an army, which he doesn't want.
Yeah, he's independently wealthy. He's got an army. He's somehow able to like get into the panties of every woman he comes across,
except for that one girl at the end.
Except for that one girl at the end, who's either really smart or really dumb, and he can't tell which.
Or perhaps just likes playing with her toys, just like a cat.
That's a possibility too. I actually never thought about that.
She had one more day, but no, Matt had to get going.
Yep. And he picks up Oliver, who's the ugliest little boy in creation.
And accidentally teaches him how to be a ladies' man. Good going, Matt.
Oh my gosh. Oliver.
that was cracking me up so much. Where did you learn that? Jeez, Matt.
I learned it from you.
And
I learned it from you, Dad.
He blames it on his uncles, the Band of the Red Hand, when in reality it's all him. It's like, and all of them understand perfectly well that it's Matt. It's
Everyone.
Except Matt.
Everybody except Matt.
They even like give him significant looks and say, I don't know where he could have learned that. He's like, I know where you learned that. No, you don't, dude. No, you don't.
And
Big
then
case of style.
I feel like I got more reason to think, like when he was talking to that guy and he said the whole 7 moons thing and the guy had the accent of the Shan-Chen and it was significant. I think I still sticking with that. I'm totally right about who the 7 moons chick is.
You hit that on the nail on the head.
Yeah.
That is absolutely what it is.
Yeah, and then even like later
Way
on,
too much.
we even get a little section from that spy's perspective.
Right, in the
Shan-Chen
epilogue, I
are
think,
coming
right?
back at some point.
Yeah.
And it kind of says, "Oh, that's an omen that the Daughter of the 9 Moons will come. That must be a sign that the return should come
The
here."
return, yeah.
Yeah. And I guarantee it's not just going to be like a small force like they sent the first time. No, it's going to be the whole army.
Well, and that's kind of what they hinted at before too, right? Was that the first army was just more or less a scouting party.
And
to get the lay of the land.
That almost took everything on the coast over.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh crap! I forgot to put somebody in. More gays.
Oh, we can cover her with the girls.
You didn't put Nim in either, but that's okay. I forgive you. She's my favorite, but I forgive you.
Oh, I put Min in.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. It was in Rand's fart.
Yeah, I put Min in. Right there.
Oh, okay. Good.
Good. You have done or else.
Or
Blue's getting sassy.
I really liked Min this book, okay? I was like, okay, she's my new favorite.
I like Min too. She's interesting. Like she's a really like she kind of becomes both a bookworm and a sassy sexpot in a lot of ways.
She's a total tease, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's really awesome. I like just that Min is like the moment where Min is just talking with Mullane about birthing and Rand gets uncomfortable and she said they say, "Oh, men have off stomachs," and he just thinks, what would they think of him if they had seen him coming out of the barn with a broken rib, covered in birthing fluids and blood, from a mare who had just barely folded and never done it before and had freaked out.
Yeah, helping a horse give birth is no easy task. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I've seen like just animals giving birth in the wild, and it's just like
It's a rough deal.
Yeah, it's a rough deal. It looks gross.
But I don't have to do it.
Yep, me neither. So then,
to not give birth. Right, Blake?
Any other thoughts with Matt? Since kind of like he folds into the girls' plot after like his road trip, he doesn't.
Yeah.
There is an attempt to kill
Matt's
him.
got a real simple.
And when he gets to the girls is one of the funniest parts in the book. He's like accusing Egwene of faking being the Amerlin. I'm just like, Matt, shut up.
And then he just gapes when somebody comes in and says,
it's wonderful.
"Oh,
Matt takes a road trip to nowhere, and
because he couldn't even just come in and not believe her. He had to come in and be like, gonna box your ears and this, that, the other. When he puts his foot in his mouth, he just shoves it all the way in.
He came in fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, the girls need it. I side with Matt, to be honest. The girls are kind of mean. They really are becoming Aes Sedai.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of don't blame him that he didn't believe it initially. He's like,
it's literally a comedy.
I don't blame him, but it was still really funny.
it was so funny. I agree. I totally agree that it was
It's a
hilarious.
comedy of errors. It's just,
Yeah, exactly.
if they just talk to each other like civilized people, all their problems would be solved. But because of who they are and the history they have with one another, constantly being at each other's necks, it's like, hey, come on, you are like the only 4 people who can trust each other in this entire little town.
Yeah, everybody else is a horror.
Nope. We got it.
They did solve something I was curious about, though, because like with the whole channeling thing in the Fox head, I was really curious about if stuff could still be thrown at him with the power, and it turns out, yeah. So that's good to know.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because power's no longer involved after trajectory has been launched.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they throw
and it's good for Matt to learn that when it was just horse poop.
Right.
Yeah, they throw a little horse at him because he's frustrated them. He's like saying, "No, I am not giving you this fox head. There is no way in hell that I'm giving you this fox head. I seem to remember you
can
owing
pry
me
it from my cold."
You can pry it from my cold dead hands." And just infuriates Elaine to no end. And then she just starts like calmly being a queen to his men. And
which is such a power move. Like, well
Here's the
done,
thing, Matt
Elaine.
does not recognize her sovereignty.
yeah. And then like
All right, and on to the Wonder Girl.
Yeah. Who mostly they're stuck in traffic for a large majority of this.
Yeah, I mean,
at
first, Egwene's literally stuck in bed sick, so that was fun.
In air quotes.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, whereas and then like Sorely. Yeah, I just remember one funny thing that stuck with me is Sorely trying to hook Egwene up with an Aiel man. And
yes, that was so funny.
He's like, those hips were made for babies. It's like, lady, you blunt.
She had her little. I love that. Like, that's such an interesting start to a romance, to get sucked into a man's sex dream about you. Like, okay, it's a way to start.
Ready?
Yeah. that part. Yeah, for context, basically, Gawain Trakan has major hots for Egwene, like bad, like gross and nasty. Um, and she gets accident. She's wandering around in like this in between world between the real world and Tel'aran'rhiod, the dream world, where like just people are dreaming, and then Gawain's dreams. His love for her is so strong that she gets pulled into the dream, and she's just going along with it.
She's trying to fight out of it, but he
Yeah,
is.
she tried. She gave it a good shot.
Yeah.
I mean, like he was having some really bad dreams about her, like a constant repaying. Same, he thinks she's a prisoner of Rand. He's got to save her. He gets to have his little hero moment, which ends with him killing Rand. So that freaked her out.
And then they have the "you love me more than my brother, right?" talk, which was so sad. I'm like, oh no.
And then he leaves her in one dream because dreams are weird and you constantly repeat them. And I can attest to that. That is something you actually do. You'll relive a scene in your dream, almost like you're trying to get it just right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody who has ever a lucid dream, you will know this.
Yeah, well, I've had lucid dreams frequently, and I've tried to control it, but it never works for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm never able to control them either. Literally, this is a scenario that has happened, and my wife loves it. I was having a dream where me and her were having an argument. I don't remember what about, but I remember, wait a minute, I'm dreaming, and I say out loud in the dream, this is a dream. I can do whatever I want. She slaps me and says, I am still your wife. You listen to me.
That's so great.
And then I woke up and it's like, that's not fair.
Well, Pixity for the win, baby. Yeah, there's kind of things where I've tried to fly, conjure lightsabers and stuff. It's like, this is a dream. This is a dream. I can, and like I've been able to wake myself up on occasion.
Mhm.
But I've still had sleep paralysis to a certain extent, like just getting out of it. But
See, I have
it's a weird experience.
I have like this nightmare thing where as soon as I know I'm dreaming, there's always some like antagonist in the dream that's telling me that if I can't wake myself up, I'm going to be stuck dreaming forever. So, yeah, that's fun. But, you know, I always wake up, so.
The horrible girls. I wish
You know,
they
I
all.
just said,
I mean,
Well, that's a.
this person has some hot takes. I mean, like they're not particularly great in this book, but I wouldn't go that far.
They're very dull in this book. Or at least like what they're doing is very boring.
Yeah, it definitely could have been cut out. Mostly, you just needed to focus on Nynaeve. Your subconscious knew the pecking order.
I was thinking about holding another thing, but I won't say it on stream.
Holding the pecking order.
oh god.
I'm a terrible person.
Yes, you are.
But yeah, them being stuck in Saladar was pretty boring. Up until I think the first interesting thing that happened was with Nynaeve and Logain. Like her, you know.
Yeah, where she gets
Carrying him.
heals.
Like that's pretty significant.
I'm going to be honest. I thought that was going to break her block. It's like that's a pretty stressful event right there. That would probably do it. Nope.
I still feel like somehow something. I think her breaking her block is going to have something to do with Lan. Yeah.
Yeah. We did get a brief chapter in this. Not even a chapter, like just like a page. He got wherever he was going.
Yeah, we know that. And it's like, okay. And they were in tents, which makes me think maybe they're in Saladar.
No, I don't think they were in.
I think
in
they're like
Saladar.
slightly away. They're slightly away because we meet the lady Morel, and she's in Saladar. Like she's actually one of the ones like in the dream of Tel'aran'rhiod where she's she's having Nynaeve and Elaine teach her about Tel'aran'rhiod.
Right.
And she like has 3 marriage knives on her. And like a 4th kind of fades in and out, which is Lan, which is and it's kind of interesting because she's apparently married all 3 of her warders, so
Or at least considers herself married to them.
yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting because I assume Land is going to become Nynaeve's warder at some point. That's where the story naturally would go.
Well, it seems like that's what was intended, at least when he was, because that was one of the things he was mad about. Is she not only told him that she was handing over his bond, but also that was just like a stop, and that there was like another plan after that.
It all depends because we don't know much about this character, other
Right.
than Moraine trust her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Did she show
but
up?
also you would think.
New Spring?
I don't remember if she did.
So this is spoiler free up to the end of Lord of Chaos. These two have not read beyond the end of Lord of
Past
Chaos.
that,
yet.
right?
Yeah.
I love they make the comment of Nynaeve's pulling her braid in the picture too. It's just
Yeah.
that's her defining trait.
Yeah.
She's gonna yank her hair out eventually.
Yeah. She probably is. And then they are kind of stuck in traffic in Saladar, and Egwene is stuck in the Aiel camp for a while. And then she gets called to be the Amerlin seat.
Yeah, that's the thing that happened.
Which, I mean, we kind of knew was going to happen, right? Because they were talking about wanting it to be the strong Aes Sedai, or, well, not Aes Sedai yet, but that was in the Waste with Rand, which could have only been her or Moraine. So,
Yeah.
Another
And Moraine died.
right?
Yeah. And this has been set up as well since book 1, even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moraine, there were constant references to the fact that Egwene might one day be the Amerlin seat. Now,
Yeah, I mean,
it's happened a lot sooner than you would think because they've only been out of the 2 rivers for what, a year and a half now.
Yeah, I believe about a year and a half. Yeah.
but it also it makes sense because obviously they had to progress marching on the tower at some point, and they needed an Amerlin for that, and obviously we knew it was going to be her. So
Yeah, just the whole political hierarchy that happens with the Aes Sedai.
right.
Like we've been told that all 3 of these girls are incredibly powerful in the power.
Well, and knowing
and
too that
Elaine
she was going to end up.
apparently
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we knew from Rand's like visions through, well, not even visions, but when he was stuck in that like transport stone or whatever it was, that she was not only possibly going to be Amerlin, but that she wouldn't have had to use the truth rod. Or no. We knew that from her when she took the test for acceptance.
when she went through the arches. Yeah.
So it makes sense that if she were, raised in Saladar, she wouldn't have had access to the truth rod.
Which is strange because it seems like the rebellion didn't happen in that timeline. I really want to know how she managed not to take the oath, the 3 oaths.
There's a whole lot of interesting questions because multiple worlds, different realities are all a thing in this.
I honestly think that it might end up being a thing to where, well, I don't know, because the way you're making it sound like, okay, so maybe in this version of the universe she does end up eventually having to use the oath rod, but it would also make sense for her not to, especially with the Black Tower being a thing. Like, it makes sense that they would be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't actually put a restriction on ourselves that the men don't have,
Yeah.
Like
And we'll get to the Ashaman when we cover Rand, I assume.
yeah, that part's interesting because we finally get, because in the end of the last book he declared, I am blanket amnesty for all men who can channel. I'm gonna start recruiting, we get the ramifications later. But then while they're kind of waiting, Nynaeve and Elaine want an emissary from the tower comes over to Saladar. And Nynaeve and Elaine are desperate since they think that they might get snatched away. They want to prove their usefulness. And so they find this Tirongriel that can fix the weather. And then they accidentally call out the Aes Sedai for being scared crapless. And
Yeah.
stuck doing. They get stuck doing pots and pans.
Apparently, Elaine was going to, Elaine was going to say something to help smooth over the situation, but it just made it worse.
Yeah.
It apparently was the worst possible thing she could have said at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently, like Saldar has like his own 3 factions going on with it as well.
Yeah.
We got those who are pro Elaine, those who are against Elaine, not Elaine, Egwene. But even like the pro Egwene, they're kind of like trying to use her.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's really no one who's pro Egwene so much as people that are pro Shiriam.
Yeah.
It's pro Shiriam. Shiriam's faction, we got the...
Yeah, so there's like,
so many characters. It's hard to remember their names.
There's Ramonda, a yellow sitter, then Lelaine. They're heading 2 rival factions in the hall, and then there's a 3rd faction, which is Shiriam, which were kind of running things, but now that there are 2 sitters there, they're kind of creating 2 rival factions and edging out Shiriam. And Egwene was kind of the compromise candidate, which is really interesting that she got like.
And of course, there's Egwene and the Wonder Girls. Which have.
And Egwene just raises all of them to the shawl, including Faelane, who's kind of been a dick in a lot of ways to everyone. Especially
but she had to do it in order for it to not look weird.
Yeah. Well, like she's been bad since she's been a dick to them since the White Tower too, which is interesting. But yeah, then she raises them, and then this Nynaeve has been trying to break her block with the aid of this Domani accepted named Theodrin, and they have a bubble of evil, and Nynaeve is supposed to not sleep at all and just stay awake, and so she does even after the attack, and they're told to go to bed. She still stays up all night.
We also got to see, because of that bubble of evil, what linking looks like.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting concept.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Increasing one's power over and over again by linking up with more and more of those who can use the power.
Yeah. We did forget one pivotal character who's there. Mo Gideon is acting as their teacher. Really hates it.
Mo Gideon is such an interesting character because she is a coward through and through. She's not going to do anything until she has an upper hand. And then anytime outside of that, she is hiding and praying and scheming all the while. And now
doing a lot of laundry.
Now doing a lot of laundry.
Yeah, she like holds up her hand and says, "Look at my hands."
Oh.
Yeah, well, a good hard day's work. Something you're probably not used to, bitch.
Yeah, very much so. She's from a pampered lifestyle in a lot of ways. And then Matt comes in, and once they're raised, Matt is shunted off to Ebudar to go find the Bull of the Winds with Elaine and Nynaeve and a couple of old sisters.
A couple of old sisters and a couple of Matt's most trusted men who turn on him the first moment they get and start simping for Elaine.
Yeah, the moment where Van knuckles his forehead and says, "My lady." Matt thought he would swallow his boots.
It's because she comes in like she's in charge, but at the same time she does it in such a nice way. Like she's in charge, but constantly giving people compliments. So of course they're gonna simp for the pretty girl giving them compliments.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Aviera also ends up with that group.
Yeah. And like Matt is thinking that she's going to kill Elaine.
Oh my god, that was hysterical.
I slept with Ran, and it's like, Yeah, we kind of knew that was going to happen.
It just tells Elaine, you can either use the knife or the stick. Whatever you want.
The dramatics.
It's just like, yeah, it's like Elaine says, stand up. Maybe one hit. No. She's orally tempted. But she to her credit, she doesn't do it.
Well, they knew that Ren is going to end up with 3 women. And they knew at that point it's Elaine and Min.
And Avienda.
They didn't know it was going to be Avienda. They just knew it was going to be a third one. They were hoping it was going to be. They were hoping it was going to be somebody they could easily overpower, and no.
It's like, nope. And then like she's, and then when she hears about Min, she's like, who is she? It's like, it's there's some good stuff here. It's just the plot takes a long time to get going in this book in regards to Nynaeve and Elaine. It's
almost half of their stuff could have just been thrown out.
Yeah, it's very much like time killing until Egwene gets to Saladar. Once Egwene gets to Saladar, the plot starts to get moving.
Yeah.
Although, again, I think it kind of like when they go after the bull, that probably didn't need as much time as it got either.
That could have been saved for the next book.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since that is the majority of the plot for the next book in regards to them.
Yeah.
Spoiler to say, but that's pretty much.
I don't understand. They have Matt with them. Why are they not letting him look for the bull? He's to do with the random chance and luck and stuff. He literally would have found them in Tyr first day if he actually just walked into the first house he looked at in a lightning strike.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was my frustration too. I was like, this should not be taking this long. You have Matt.
Yeah, like they're like, I will tame Matt Cawthon. No, you ain't.
No, you
ain't gonna tamed by nobody.
Right? Like, and I don't understand. Okay, I think they can keep him safe if they do, and that's the motivation for it. But honestly, like, he's safer being his crazy little self.
Honestly, I think it's going to be him who saves them again.
Probably. I have a feeling, yeah.
He's already said the dice have been rolling in his head, which means
right.
He probably actually has already found the bowl.
Well, it could be something else. Oh,
no.
Could be. Oh, the queen there was interesting, though. I liked her character.
It was nice to hear her political spiel about how she's worried about her lineage and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And the whole thing about what I don't even remember what she said to tell them to speak freely, but like the only way to give insult is to lie. That was interesting too.
Lean backward on your knives.
Yeah.
I love this whole culture around their daggers and stuff. That's such a kind of cool idea.
Yeah.
Like all the gemstones in them, they all have very specific meanings, and how many daggers you have with you means something.
Well, the nice thing is Brandon Sanderson has a good pace and gets more stuff done in his books.
Is it going to pick up speed when he takes over?
Oh, yes. It's going to accelerate really fast.
Oh, good.
It goes like, some might say too fast, but I like the fact that like it takes 3 books to get to the end, but they're much faster. A lot more stuff happens.
Well,
which is nice.
I say this in all lightheartedness, but these took so long he died.
Yes, and book 11 could have easily been shortened. I think books 10 and 9 could have been shifted to one big book.
And he was only planning 6. So this should have been the last book in the series, but it more than doubled in size.
Yeah.
I think there are just a lot of moments where like he uses that. It felt like maybe he made that part with the girls so long because he wanted you to feel that like they were trapped and were getting, he wanted you to get as bored of what they were going through as they were, but honestly, like, that's just obnoxious as a reader,
That's obnoxious. You can get that across way faster, way.
Yeah. Part of the slog is, yes, the pacing slows down, but also it has to do with like the timeline of when the books came out. Like, since they came out 2 years apart.
Ooh.
So a lot of people really frickin' hate book 10 because they like had to wait 2 years before that and then 2 years after for the next book. And book 10 only covers about like a couple of weeks.
Like 2 weeks, from what I've heard.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and it's over a like 700 to 800 page book.
It is always hard waiting on books, but honestly, 2 years isn't that bad for turnaround time.
Well, it's just like they really want a conclusion, and
right.
Like, and they
I mean, it's not like George R.R. Martin lengths of waiting on.
Oh my god! I'm sorry, Don. You're never going to get a finished Song of Fire.
Oh, I have fully given up on that. He's missed 6 deadlines at this point. I'm like, I'm done. This is getting ridiculous. He
got too distracted with the TV show, and then without that in it, I can imagine that would just take all the wind out of somebody's sails to finish a project.
And he said that too, that he's really just like that, and how much people ask him for it. Like, there's just so much stress around writing it at this point that I doubt he's gonna do it.
Yeah, sadly, he brought a lot of that on himself. And
yeah.
But enough about a book series I'm never going to read.
Oh, I've heard about King Killer Chronicles. Yeah, Pat Rothfuss is not fit. Yeah, that's
Pat Rothfuss is
ever.
Yeah, I've heard like
Pat Rothfuss needs to stop doing video game work and finish his goddamn book series.
Yeah, I've heard like that's basically been in the same kind of development hell that
it's a trilogy. He's on the 3rd book of 3, and it's never going to come out. He's too busy playing Acquisitions Inc. with the Penny Arcade and working on Fallout games, apparently.
That's hilarious. It just sounds like, yeah, it's like, I guess at least like I have other book projects that I'm working on aside from
but you get a book out like every 2 months, dude.
Honestly,
I think it was once a month for 5 months. Yeah, it was once a month for 6 months.
And did you do it?
Yes, I did.
These are 6 books in a month.
6 books once.
6 books in half a year.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Why are you jealous?
Back to Wheel of Time.
Obviously, it wouldn't be.
Screw you, I have a comic strip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oop.
That's right. You better agree with me.
I smell
if you want to keep getting a paycheck.
I smell no bitterness here at all. No, we love each other. We're happy here.
Not in the gay way, of course.
No, he's married. Of course not in a gay way.
If you weren't married, though, that'd be a totally different story.
Yeah, no, I ain't gay.
Not be.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. I don't.
We are
I don't.
way
I,
off topic.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I'm Crow's type at all. I'm a terrible person. Yeah. I did forget that we have more gays, and the plot cul-de-sac of more gays and the White Cloaks.
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's there.
We have such wonderful political entry. We thought we were going to escape, but nope, they found out. And it's kind of like her whole thing. It's like, oh, we got this plan, and we're going to be able to. Nope, they found out.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to do this thing, and then it's like, nope, they found out.
Yeah. The funniest thing is, Peter Conal, he appears in book 1.
He does.
He's the little dark friend guy who tries to chat up Rand and Matt and says like, "Nah, it's not really my thing." And then he just says just Matt hits him, and then he just sprawls on the ground and yells out something about the Dark One swallowing them all, and then runs out. And now he's an Amador.
Four Kings. Four Kings. He was that slimy little douchebag who was spinning a hat on his finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with.
Oh my god,
Mephisto. Who? I must have forgotten this character just entirely.
Yeah, he's one of the 3 Dark Friend encounters that ran the second of the 2 Dark Friend encounters.
The part where Rand and Matt they just left Tom. Tom just
I remember that.
But
who was he in relation to this book and the White Cloaks?
He's the guy who tried to get more gays out.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
he's the nephew.
Okay.
That means the Dark Ones were going to try to take more gays. Oh my gosh. So the White Cloaks actually saved her in a weird sort of way because they were not going to take her back. That's for sure if that's who that was.
Yeah. And it kind of like says like they said that like the uncle was a seedy type, so I'm just like, okay. And then it turns out later that
uncle.
It turns out later that like the Inquisitor says that they were saying something about the Dark One and doing a chant about the Dark One, and I'm like,
yeah, but I didn't believe the Inquisitor.
Originally I didn't, but then I realized, wait, Peter Connell is an actual Dark Friend, so that actually might not be a bad possibility. That just means that these are the worst Dark Friends ever if they're doing that in the middle of the war. That is so dumb.
Oh my god. The White Cloaks accidentally did their job right.
Which is hilarious. And it's just like it plays with you like really bad. It kind of screws with your head a little bit where you think like you're in Morghase's head and she doesn't know that this kid's a Dark Friend.
Yeah.
And so
she just thinks the Inquisitor's lying, and the reader would believe that because they do.
Yeah, because
we don't trust the White Cloaks. They're infested with Dark Friends themselves.
Yeah, and not even like the ones in the light are crazy zealots.
Yeah.
Like, now is nuts. He's clearly nuts.
Yeah.
Like the only ones that are even halfway sane die, so like that's kind of been a running theme.
Yeah, since Pedro Nile's an old man.
Yeah.
I love just how deep denial Pedron is.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love his spy master, by the way. Like one of my new favorite characters.
Yeah, Seven
Ball. He quickly became my favorite character.
Yeah, Seven Baller is awesome.
I love just gonna keep that joke going.
Yeah. I love how just like meticulous, like he's basically an atheist. He doesn't believe in anything beyond like what he can see, and Pedro Nile's like, fine, I don't care. And then he has the face of the spy master, who's this super obvious numbskull.
That is a wonderful
cover. He is, or it's just this guy who's like apparently bought 3 horns of Valir and took it into the countryside and blew until he was blue in the face.
Yeah,
I love this cover because it's so obvious this is not the spy master, but we don't have a clue who it is.
Nobody knows that it's Seven Baller. Everyone thinks it's this obvious idiot who will believe any rumor that comes across his path. But what the interesting thing is, he's always, even though he is an idiot, he is always giving Pedro Nile these notifications about a war that's happening in Tarabon.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's about? Do you think that's Dragonsword, or do you think that's something else?
I got the impression that it was Shan-Chen.
Shan-Chen. Tarabon. I'm trying to remember.
Have he was talking about elephants and stuff, right?
Oh, yes. So it's definitely the return of the Shan-Chen.
Yeah. We went to Tarabon a little bit ago. We went to Tarabon in book 4 with the quest to get the male item.
Yeah. Right. When we met Morghaze Morgideon for the first time.
Yeah. Too many.
Too many. Yeah.
Which
Too
would
many
make
roads.
sense because that was where they were sending, or that was where some of the Shanshan ran away to, and they were sending people after them there. So
Yeah, that's where we had met the one really badass on Shanchan woman, and
yeah, and they had people reporting that it was divided and weak because of that. So it would make sense that the Shanshan came in after that, and we're just like, okay, well, if it's easy pickings, we'll take it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good foothold in here.
Yeah.
Start taking over the entire coast again and march inward.
Yeah. It's a and it's so interesting that Robert Jordan chose to use the biggest idiot to give one of the most crucial bits of information.
Yeah.
I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, so
Well, and plus, there's the fun of like you as the audience knowing that, oh, okay, well, he thinks it sounds crazy because of elephants and stuff like that, but we know that that's a thing.
elephants
So-
exist.
Yeah, it's the characters having information that they need and not believing it is always kind of fun.
Yeah. Or as well as like he's like kicking himself about Rand, where he's just the lion
Yeah.
become a giant that swallowed countries.
Or it can also be really aggravating, like the fact that everyone knows that Morgaze is alive and exactly where she is, except that no one believes it.
Sweetheart, I'm on stream.
It's like at this point, everyone's heard that she's being held captive by white cloaks, but everyone's just like, nah.
That's too.
Rand killed her. There's only that's
The only thing it could possibly actually be. It's like, come on. The only person who believes it is Rand.
well.
Well, he doesn't even believe that she's with the white cloaks. He thinks that she's dead. He just knows he didn't kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Speaking of Rand,
Gowan believes that.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And it kind of with Morgaze, it kind of ends, and it feels like a plot cul-de-sac a little bit, where it's just like, why are we spending time here? This is what plot relevance does this have? And it's just kind of interesting that like he's choosing to focus here, where it's this subplot that kind of goes nowhere. That like the white cloaks accidentally doing their job ends up screwing over Morgaze, at least in her mind. And then she signs over Andor to the white cloaks in order to get Rand off, in an effort to get Rand off the Lion Throne as she sees it.
Rand is just going to give it to Elaine, and if he finds out Morgaze is still alive, he will gladly give her back the throne. It's a big war for nothing.
I don't know about that. Okay, because like to me, now that he has it, I feel like he being a bit more hard-headed and all that kind of stuff now, he might see it as Elaine being a bit easier to control, honestly. Like
Maybe. I don't know.
maybe
Rand
not
has-
in that harsh of wording, like the control thing, but just that obviously Morgaze has no reason to listen to him and maybe wouldn't, whereas Elaine probably would, you know?
Well, he does. Well, Pedro Nile doesn't really have Elaine in his clutches, so the only thing that he has is Galad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and honestly, he could try to get Elaine. He would fail. He
Right.
would fail.
No. I'm saying that I think even if Rand knew Morgaze was alive, Rand would still rather have Elaine on the throne than Morgaze.
Okay. What you're talking about? Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So many he's vying for the throne.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just making a joke. I'm being facetious. Yeah.
So speaking of Rand,
Yeah. Now we get into pretty much the bulk of the good stuff of this book. Other than the non-verbal cat fight between Perrin Ibarra's wife Fail and Berelaine.
Oh, it was driving me. I'm trying so hard to like Fail, okay? I am, but she drove me crazy in this book. Like it's not his fault. It's clearly not his fault.
it's very clear that Perrin does not like this woman, and he's getting sick of it. I love how he's going on hunting and fishing trips.
Right.
Just to
Like
try
he's
to get
literally physically running away from her. What more do you expect from him?
There's the part where he says like, I'm not I know you're jealous. I'm not doing anything. And she hasn't asked him, but yeah, he's like really trying to go above and beyond to get away from this person.
I love the interactions. We got it. We'll come to Perion in just a moment. We really got to talk about Rand.
Yeah. Rand is really like he hates his life, clearly.
Rand does not like this. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to be a king. He doesn't want to be a hero. He doesn't want to be a general. He doesn't want all these lives riding on him. He doesn't want to do it, but he's going to do it anyway. At this point, he's accepted what he is, and he's going to do whatever he can to do the best job he can and try to save as many people in the end.
Yeah, and he's working himself to death. He's working himself to death by jumping between two different kingdoms via gateway.
Yeah.
Which is why Min was so perfect for him. That's why, like, she was all worried about whether or not he was going to like her. And then as soon as she called him sheep herder, I was like, well, you're in now. Like, that's all you had to do.
Sheep herder. It's just watching the two of them interact. It's like, get a room.
Or just bone already.
It was really, really funny, though, when he was saying that he didn't think of her as a woman, and she was like, well, guess I'm gonna have to prove it then, and he's just like, oh, ha, ha, ha. This is a joke. Like, okay, Rand.
How are you gonna go on with you kissing me, man?
Right? Like, he's got a weird sense of humor if he thinks it's been a joke.
Herself on you, and you're going to be wondering how long is she going to put this up for, dude? You are a sheep. You are a
sheep herder.
You are a woolhead. It's just
she's clearly freaking horny for you, dude.
She's all but stripping on you. All right, she's did all but give you a lap dance.
I think
she kind of even did that. Yeah.
She sits on his lap and like kisses him. And kisses.
Yeah, but that's not dancing.
People.
That's not dancing though.
Okay, she sat on his lap and said, "Can I? Maybe I can just like be your little honey lips and feed you grapes or something." That's so funny. That's so funny. It is really, really entertaining.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah,
she walked in on you taking a bath and she started bathing you, dude. What more of an obvious sign do you need?
Yeah, I think part of it's just like the V card. Like he already gave up his V card and he's not really thinking about that. But yeah,
he wasn't even thinking of it then. It just happened.
Yeah, true. It's like just thought about blindfolding her in air since he was so embarrassed. It's just so funny. And like his joke to the maidens in his second or third chapter.
Yes, that was fantastic.
Yeah, where it just says so bad. Like it's just like they didn't get it, and I'm just like, wait, I'm trying to have to piece this joke. Is it about how like he's an idiot and fell out of a tree?
I mean, like, Rand, that wasn't even funny by our standards.
Yeah, it was very confusing.
Yeah.
Rand. Yeah. He doesn't have a sense of humor. I love that.
Wetlander humor.
That's not even Wetlander humor. That's just a bad.
Just Rand.
And he suffers in silence when the maidens are giving him relationship advice. A great deal of suffering in silence. They tell him to, like, prance around naked and then get into his blankets while she's there. It's just what?
At least Avienda's not there to go into detail about what Elaine looks like naked anymore.
I feel so bad for Rand, but at the same time, like, dude, what more obvious things? He's right. Come on, man.
And like it's interesting that like the wise ones that are actually like they like men.
Oh yeah, because they see her ability as kind of like a version of their own thing. They're very intrigued by it, but not in the same way the Aes Sedai are. It was like, we got to dissect her, and it's like, no. They're like, that's cool. So anyway,
oh, how did you? I just barely found out I was with child this morning. Arning, how'd you know? I saw it. You're gonna have twin girls. I'm gonna name one Min. That's
Oh.
cute.
It was cute.
I also like how Min and Vail just don't get along, and they know that from sight.
Yeah, it's just from Jump Street.
They look at each other and go, "I hate you."
No reason. They just nope, just don't jive. Which is really funny. I think part of it it's partially because Perrin gives her a big hug.
Yeah, it's because Perrin and Min are friends. They spent like 6 months in the mountains together.
Yeah, and Fail's Fail's really, really just a naturally jealous person.
Vail
Okay.
is a bitch. Like, I love her. She is the perfect choice for Perrin, but my God, woman, take a chill pill. He's married you.
Yeah.
I was thinking that maybe like there's some unfaithfulness with her father and her mother. Maybe that's where it's all coming from. But nope.
Yeah,
He's
no.
like, dude.
I
You
don't
meet
know.
them, it's like there's no way that woman ever let her husband be unfaithful.
There is no way that woman's.
He would be dead now if that had happened.
Her mom's scary. Her
Oh
mom's
my God, she's absolutely terrifying. She slapped her.
Why
she
did
slapped-
Fail slapped her?
You just start slapping one another. It's like, dude, what mother-daughter does this to one another?
Yeah, the meet the parents section. Or
I loved how Perrin impressed the dad. It's like, yeah, if you take her from me, I'm going to come get her back. You think 200 bowmen can stand up to 4,000 horsemen? Yes. Crushes a cup and just. And the dad looks at it, it's like, huh.
I like a guy who can stand up to a Trolloc and not flinch. And it's really funny that like Davram Bashir I love Davram Bashir in this book. Or just from Jump Street. He's just
Oh my God, he threw a knife at Ran. He threw a knife at Ran. It's like, yeah, nobody's going to be able to get to you. Anybody who manages to get past us is some sort of god.
Yeah. Or like when he just like Mazrim Taim asks about, hey, when Rand says, hey, Bashir, you want to go to the farm? Thank you. No.
No.
And I love the way that Michael Kramer read that, where it's just this blunt no.
Michael Kramer has some wonderful acting in this, and it all comes from Bahir.
Yeah, Bashir's great. And then and like Bashir's wife is like a head taller than him and is like
A whole lot of woman.
Yeah, she's a lot of woman, and she's
And
nuts.
I like how Perrin is like, if that's what Fail's gonna look like, I'm a lucky guy. Perrin.
Very fortunate. It's just like,
Goddamn.
which is just like calmly describes her as like she's buxom.
I think he said like statuesque or something. I don't remember.
Statuesque is the exact word. It's just like you would have expected a frail woman after Davram Bashir's description, but quite the opposite. Like she's like talks about how like Davram Bashir grabbed her by the back of the head and said he was gonna marry her, and it was like, okay.
Well, yeah, because Perrin was, because he was talking about making it seem like the whole like, the guy's got to be strong and the head of the household, and then that is what they go with, but she's also like the whole thing. I loved her whole spiel about the guy having to be strong enough so that the woman doesn't have to be less than she is. I was like, you know what? Respect.
Yeah. Yeah, and he just finally like yells and says, I will treat my wife how I treat my wife, sawed off.
Man, I would not want to get in a fight with Perrin. He will punch you through a wall.
Yeah, 'cause he's built like the proverbial brick outhouse.
Yeah, he's a blacksmith's apprentice.
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset we do not get more with him and Master Luhan.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to see is just Perrin finally just having a slight moment where he could be normal again. We didn't get that. We haven't had that since Tyr.
Yeah, it's kind of just stuck, and especially when
I was hoping Tam would come with him.
yeah, I was hoping that too. That would have been great.
I'm waiting for the reunion between Rand and Tam.
Yeah,
Don't break my heart, son.
I'm
Don't
not convinced there's going to be one, but we'll see.
I know there's not going to be one. I still want it. I still want a prequel series with just Tam because my God, he apparently did stuff.
Right?
Yeah. Of course, we also have the whole farm. We should probably talk about that too.
yeah. Welcome to the Black Tower, ladies and gentlemen, the home of the Ashaman. Which coolest name ever.
Osherman? Yeah.
Yeah.
I told you this, Dunn, but when they described the uniforms of being these black coats and everything, my mind immediately just goes with that imagery to the Nazi officer.
Yeah.
Look.
So this is kind
Rand
of like,
is right. It was a poor choice to call it the Black Tower.
Yeah.
Like, in a world where everything more or less spreads by rumor and people have these wild ideas about the fight between good and evil, like having the Aes Sedai be the White Tower and you guys be the Black Tower, like maybe not the best optics.
That's that's exactly what I was picturing in my head.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a little bit, but we get a false dragon who we've been hearing about for the past few books.
Mm-hmm.
But that is Mazrim Taim. And we get to finally meet this guy, and he's kind of sus.
Yeah, I feel like he's okay. So unless we know for sure, and I just missed it, but if we don't know, because obviously the girl in Salidar was one of the Forsaken that got brought back. I feel like he's the other one.
Mazrim Taim?
No, I don't think he is.
You don't think? It was just the way that because I guess it could just be because he's a guy that channels, but it seemed like he was Rand's little voice in his head was really specifically trying to say that Mazrim Taim was a dark friend to me.
I would believe he's a dark friend. I can definitely see like when he was in captive, just going out, just like I accept the dark one and stuff and all that.
Yeah,
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
because he kept saying, "I'll kill him this time," like he knew him before or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's a consistent connection between Taim and Demundred for some reason in Rand's head.
Maybe it's a Demundred in another form or something. Because I mean, like it's really he shows up when a gray man tries to kill Rand, and it's just really convenient that he happened to be there.
Like I said, to me, it just seems like he's one of the Forsaken. But yeah.
Yeah. There's a
powerful dark friend or just something.
Yeah, Tamundred is a very popular theory in the fandom. That Taim is actually Demundred based on a lot of the connections that are made in this book. So maybe that's the case. So you're definitely not alone there. There's a lot of connections to be made. And we almost forgot to mention that Osmodian kicked the bucket in the last book under mysterious circumstances. And that kind of opens up the
That's right, Osmodian died.
Yeah, I was like, did I miss
something?
something? He's dead now? Okay.
No, yeah, he dies right at the end of the first book. He died right at the end of the last book. That's actually something I wanted to bring up is that I think he's one of the people that got brought back.
Really? Okay, that's an interesting
Yeah.
Okay.
That is interesting.
I mean, like, it would make sense. Like you're looking for that clump of grass. Here it is. You have a chance to get back in your path. Good grace. Don't let it go to waste.
It doesn't seem.
That's just how my thinking.
It didn't.
No, I don't think it is.
It didn't seem like Osengar was like. It seemed as though like they had died, and so it seems as though the only two Forsaken that have died, that like fit this kind of bill are Belthamel are the first two Forsaken that.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. And because plus like where they died, it seemed like it would, I don't know, just proximity to Sheol Ghul wise might be easier to bring them back to life than say Lanfear, who died in like a weird alternate dimension. If she died at all.
If she's dead, we don't know. Because there's a chance that she survived and Lance just not.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously heavily implied that
Not
she
able to
died,
feel
but
more
implications don't mean
Gaze's,
anything in books
connection.
like this.
Not how it works.
I wouldn't even believe Moraine was dead.
And of course, people are just
necessarily
going to be
if it
coming
weren't
back.
Yeah, unless they're bale-fired to death.
Yeah.
That one's a surefire death.
I mean,
but anything
also,
else is pretty good.
Yep. Anything else? It's free game with the Dark One who has power over the grave. I mean, even Rand didn't kill Ishamael.
Yeah.
Their names are just so.
Ishamael.
He didn't kill Ishamael with Bellfire. The corpse just dissolved away. And if he was supposed to be the original Nabulus, and he is from like meta confirmation I had from like apparently there was a Wheel of Time game or something that he was the strongest of the Forsaken. Would you really give up a minion that powerful that easily? Especially one who was doing a very effective job of what he was doing.
Sort of.
Yeah, maybe.
He still got beat 3 times by a farm boy.
Yeah, but he almost killed him. He came the closest.
He claimed the closest. So, rule of contrast, he's the best.
I mean, he was best when they were at the height of their power, so.
Yeah.
Well, being fair, Lanfear came the closest had she had any interest in killing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lanfear almost killed everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that part's funny. And especially the Feast of Light is just a funny concept because it's just
a giant frat party.
It is it's just a giant nuts frat party.
I was like, that's kind of wild. People just running around without shirts. All right.
Yeah, well, it's just
as you do, I guess. Just a whole town.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting laid.
Yeah, it's just like everybody can kiss any like Perion's like shocked by the debauchery. It's just especially since like Kyrie and are like these straight laced posh people. And then this day all social barriers break down. Anybody can kiss anybody.
I did like that they said though that like the Kyrian and men were like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll play along, and the women were like, nope, lock the door.
The tyrant men like leave.
Oh, the tyrant. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the tyrant. Kyrian are already used to it. It's the tyrants that hate foreigners that are just like, yeah, let's do this.
Party girl, essentially.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, and it's just it does seem as though like getting back to Rand, the political situation, he's juggling a lot of fiery balls right now.
He's doing a really good job of it, actually.
Yeah, he's doing a decent job. He's having to like make it so that like Tyr and Kyrian don't implode on him because it seems like they're both powder kegs.
Oh yeah, they're about to go to war with each other, about to go to war with themselves. Andrin is almost about to turn on himself, and they keep bringing up an Aes Sedai in the city who is friends with cats, and we all know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Black Aja are in Andrin.
Yeah.
Have to deal with the farm and making sure that group of psychopaths don't go crazy on themselves.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know, the whole significance with the badges and stuff that he gave out, and the fact that made everyone kind of uneasy, particularly Taim. Like, seems like maybe their allegiances aren't necessarily to Rand per se.
Yeah,
they're to Taim, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like he's the general. He's the one controlling them. He's the one who they deal with. And I mean, Taim got rid of his and gave it to somebody else.
Yeah. He's wearing these dragon embroidered sleeves on his coat.
Yeah.
It's clearly imitating Rand.
Yes. It's just like a Couladin did.
It's definitely low-key a challenge.
The Aiel are slowly falling apart.
Yeah.
Because a number of them are either just giving up on Rand, turning on him,
or just running.
Or
I think we lost, Crow's roboting anyway.
Oh dear. Crow, don't die, Crow. Don't die. And then he's having to deal with some Aes Sedai that come in. 2 groups that are vying for his allegiance / support. But one is slightly more nefarious than the other.
Slightly. Pack him off in a box and drag him away.
Yeah, that's we see Crow seems to have died.
He does. Poor Crow.
Yeah, poor Crow. But yeah, he's now like Rand, like initially like Rand. This kind of starts the long line of poor life decisions of Rand al'Thor, where he decides to try and play the Aes Sedai off each other. And that does not go well.
It doesn't. I feel like he almost has no choice but to do that, though, because obviously he can't go for either of them either, you know?
Yeah.
Like he can't really join up with either. So he kind of has no choice but to try to play them off each other.
Are you talking about the Aiel? Because I had a
The Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had some sort of technical issues, like some reason it dropped me.
Oh no, you're fine. Yeah. But yeah, the Aiel like definitely are a big part of this because the Shadow Aiel are still out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the big bads of this book. They're shadow big bads because they're kept in the background. But then, and in the very beginning, the Black Aja, at least Black Aja who are leading this, since the Black Aja are leading this expedition, that's a fact. That like there are 2 Black Reds in the leadership of this thing, and then they like make a deal with the Shido to try and distract. And it's a really neat plot where they plan this whole thing out so that the noblemen some noblemen are aware of the fact that Rand's going to leave either by force or by choice, and they've kind of planned in case of the eventuality of getting rid of the Aiel and neutralizing the Aiel by using the Shido, which is really smart. I really like bad guys who are competent. This is a relatively competent scheme that they've figured out to get Rand out of Kyrian and into the White Tower.
I love the scheme the Aes Sedai had to capture Rand.
It's smart because they're right. I mean, no one knows when he comes and goes, or so.
Yeah, very much plays into their hands the fact that he like hops, skips, and jumps. And
Rand's really got to work on those communication skills so people can't just steal him out of his bed.
Oh my gosh. They literally just shove him into a treasure chest.
Literally, like, oh gosh.
Yep. And they also grab Min, and then they start dragging him to the White Tower. And then Rand goes nuts.
Oh my.
When he finds out that he kills a warder with his hands and then kills another one with the stolen man's sword before he's finally subdued and put back in the chest.
Right. But they're just friends, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, they're friends. They're totally just friends. We did forget about one thing. Alana Mosfani is a terrible person.
Yeah.
Basically mind rapes Rand and makes makes him her warder without his consent.
Yep, that's the thing that happened.
So
awful. Have you been a victim of being made a warder against your will?
Like, I'm just like, Elaine is gonna kill this woman.
That was such a stupid choice. I thought Vern was gonna kill that woman. It's just like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. For a little bit of context, Rand, like for whatever reason, there's a group, Rand and Varen from book 5, the team of Aes Sedai from book 4 have brought a bunch of Two Rivers girls to the tower, but then Rand finds them and like he says, "Do not leave," and like he freaks out. The two, like he finds them and they're like, Rand, you're way too uppity talking to a Aes Sedai like that. And they just don't realize that he's the Dragon Reborn. And then Davram Bashir has been just telling them like that he's the Dragon Reborn. And they say, this man has been telling us awful things about you.
Yeah, I am. I am the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah. Are necessary evil. And just and like she tries she tries to control him, and then like she says it was like trying to pick up a mountain. It didn't work.
It didn't work.
It did not work.
Yeah.
Why would you think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Why did you think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Just of all the stupid I get that you're going through a hard time right now, but my God, woman, how did you let this happen? You're smarter than this.
And it stinks for her because, okay, so if the compulsion type thing that they can do doesn't work, then all that means is that they know where the other one is. So I guess the most she got out of it was a sort of tracking system. But besides that, like, she feels everything he does. So, and he gets hurt kind of a lot.
And he's just hurting
Oh, yeah.
constantly from the wound in his side.
In his side, yeah.
Yeah, like she even remarks on it that he has an old wound that really
I forgot about the old wound, actually. I forgot about it, to be honest. It didn't come up at all last book, and it's came up every book since he's got it.
Well, I
She
think he's just
mentioned
gotten
it.
used to
but-
I mean-
he's just gotten used to it. I think he's just gotten used to it at this point. It's
Yeah.
very much
I mean-
Longinus-esque.
But yeah, so it sucks for her.
Yeah, sucks. Yeah, you made it. You done effed up, AA Ron.
Right.
You done effed
All
up.
you
AA.
managed to do is add a little quest marker in your compass in an RPG.
Basically,
That's all you did.
Yeah,
there's so many more cons to that for her than pros.
yeah.
there was
Like
no pros. Other than
there
it
are
helped the
no-
group find Rand at the end. That's the only reason they actually caught up.
Yeah,
outside of the
exactly.
big battling of Aiel.
yeah,
What would you call it?
And
A
they-
gaggle of Aiel?
Again.
yeah. They do. And one other like little bit of detail before we get into the ending is Herod fell. Since Rand brings men over to this academy that he started, where this like really absent-minded old philosopher just kind of figures out the meaning of life.
He's my favorite character of the entire series. He's just like,
And it's
yeah.
just, like it's like, oh, you'd be an excellent student here.
He doesn't realize Rand is the Dragon Reborn. I love it.
And he's
He just
so
thinks he's
thrown off
some
by
noble
men.
person.
Yeah, he's so thrown off by men.
He
like,
fell
not
for
very-
love, in such deep love with men, and like at just on site. It's like, hey, babe, how you doing?
Yeah, it's like, do not bring girl, too pretty.
Too pretty.
And, like,
You come here often. You like books? I read a book once.
he's basically you, only old and slightly senile and more philosophical.
Oh my god, that's who I'm going to become when I'm older.
Desert ninjas. Ginger desert ninja.
I'm still not over it. That's still the funniest thing in the world.
I
Sunburn
forget they're ginger sometimes.
Honestly, like they're talking about how dark skinned they all are because of the sun, and I'm like, no, they're bright red. Don't lie to me.
Do not lie to me. They are not that dark. They are tanned.
They are all sunburned 24/7.
Yeah. But yeah, there's like at the end, there's a really creepy bit where apparently this thing called a golem slips under Herod Fell's door and kills him.
Yeah,
Which one?
I'm so bummed about that. It's like, no.
Yeah,
A
I
golem
like
is
harem.
not seen yet, actually. We don't even really know what it is.
Yeah,
If
it's described as a golem, and it's not like your typical fantasy golem of big hulking monster. No, it seems like it's almost like it seems like it's that, but they are like able to slip through things. Like they're
Well, golems are typically clay brought to life, right? So, I mean, I guess technically clay could reform itself to get under a door.
Yeah, the typical golem comes from Jewish mythology. It's a protecting artifact that protects the temple.
Right.
And then, of course, fantasy adopts that, and they make golems out of all sorts of things.
Yeah,
Assassin Clay dough. Yes.
exactly.
Fun to play with, not to eat.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, apparently ripped him all to pieces. Like, it didn't just kill him; it made a message.
Yeah, and then the poor headmistress comes in and faints.
I mean, like, it didn't like just rip them to pieces. It put all the pieces together in a nice little pile.
Which is really disturbing in a lot of ways. Which is just like, there are a lot of people say that Wheel of Time is a PG-13 book series.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I know the Trollocs have something because I've watched Shad's videos before, and he's talked about it. They got a machine that does a thing, and it's incredibly disturbing.
I will say, though, that for a book that goes into so much detail, usually on the more brutal parts, it is like he gives you the idea of what's going on, but there's not a lot of detail.
Yeah.
So that, to me, could keep it more at PG-13.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's some disturbing stuff, which kind of
Definitely.
just makes they just like
survey says that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Back when he used to be good.
Yeah, back when he used to be funny. There's some other funny stuff that I made sure to get. Like,
What did you put in this coffee? I didn't see that. That didn't happen. That couldn't have.
Yeah, the actual funny one of the two of them is the brother.
Yeah. And then when Rand and Min are kidnapped, Perrin goes after them with a bunch of Barrelane's troops, a bunch of Aiel, the wise ones, and Perrin's automatically when Sora Leah, who's the weakest of all the wise ones, and yet she's in charge, sees a fireball, and he's like, wow, we're in trouble. Well, if that's the best they can do.
Well, at least we got a lot of them. The wise ones went to war. That is such a interesting thing.
Yeah, that's a big moment. Like, that's never happened before.
And then, of course, we finally get Perrin. I don't know why he didn't do this at the Two Rivers. He called out for the wolves.
Yeah. Well, I think partially it was the wolves have been cleaned out of the Two Rivers by
Yeah,
Slayer.
there weren't any.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They were because the guy in the Tamriel, he was hunting the wolves in their sleep.
Yep.
I love that. I always had I love the imagery that comes with like talking to the wolves, how they don't communicate by words, they communicate by image and scent and sound.
Yeah.
Very provocative.
Yeah, and he just says one thing: they have caged Shadow Killer, and he's like,
Right.
"All right, done. We're
I
on."
will come. I will come.
Like, they didn't even have to ask them. They were just like, oh, it's on.
Oh, it is on.
Like Donkey Kong. It's on like Donkey Kong, baby.
And they showed up. They like doubled his numbers. Just
Yeah, like 1,000 wolves show up.
we don't know what happened to those wolves afterwards.
Probably like did a lot of damage to the rear.
Yeah.
When he because what happened? So for context,
The battle is confusing.
Oh yeah, the battle. Robert Jordan actually did serve in Vietnam, so he's seen actual combat.
Yeah.
And
it is obvious the end scene of Dumani's well is something he picked up from Vietnam.
Yeah, because it is.
This was to me the most disturbing thing so far was
the
end of this battle.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna show that on screen without getting a really like
TV mature rating. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, I hope that it'd be hard to not make what happens at the end. We'll get to what happens in the end in a little bit to those who haven't seen it. But if you're watching this, why are you here?
Yeah. This is spoilers.
Maybe they just like to hear our beautiful voices.
Lovely. I'm disappointed for you. My voice is terrible.
No, we're on book 6 right now, DB. We haven't made it to book 7 yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if Blue has started, but I haven't.
Yeah.
I did, but I'll be shh about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I'm about to buy the book here after we're done with this and then get started on that.
Lovely. So, okay, so if the best I can describe for the battle is the Shido are shadowing the Aes Sedai, the Tower Aes Sedai, and the wise one in charge, Savannah, wants to get Rand as her husband so she can rule the Aiel.
And the reason the Aes Sedai have let them get that close is because the Aes Sedai they think that they're going to use the Shido to kill the younglings.
Yeah, they think that they can use them to kill Gawain Trakand.
Yeah, there's a number of dark plots going on through this as well.
Yeah, which is like Elida wants Gawain out. I'd never quite understood why Elida didn't want Gawain to die.
It's a liability, I guess. I don't know.
Well, she doesn't like men. She's read Aja. She doesn't like the warders.
Yeah,
I'm sure the fact
she's a feminist.
Well, she's just a misandrist. That's just her character.
Yeah.
But she wants to get rid of Gawain, either like because like he's a nuisance around Tarvalin, but then she could just like get out, like just said like go away. They're already gonna go with yeah. So yeah, that's not So yeah, they're definitely going the Game of Thrones route in some
fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know whether or not they're gonna go like HBO levels. They'll probably go like The Boys, where there's like lots and lots of violence, but relatively minimal sexual content. At least that I could see. Like compared to HBO, like HBO is like 1 to 2 every episode. The Boys was like once a season or something.
There must always be a boob on screen.
Pretty much, yeah. But the Shido like turn on the Aes Sedai and say, no, we're going to take him for ourselves. So they go in with the intent to grab him, and the Aes Sedai start fighting back. And Perrin's been chasing them for a while, and he's got the Saladar Aes Sedai embassy show up, and he hates that. Because he hates Kiruna and Kiruna Nachiman and Bear Harkin.
Yeah, they're kind of the reason they're in this mess, because they wouldn't just listen to Rand.
Yeah, or at least, and also there's kind of the problem of Rand got framed by somebody trying to kill the Aes Sedai. I suspect an Ashaman, and a Dark Friend Ashaman, personally.
Yeah,
where they said like keep away from the Dragon Reborn, and it's just like Aielmen don't think the Dragon Reborn is that important.
They don't care about that.
They wouldn't have called him the Dragon Reborn. They would have called him the Kara Khan.
Yeah.
Only the maidens have that high respect for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Even they think that he's just like, well, the maidens don't respect him at all. They keep him like their endeavor seems to be keep him humble.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a respect.
I guess so, yeah.
They're described as being like his moms and sisters, because they look at him as like their long lost brother returned to them.
Which is strange. I think it's funny that it's just like the age doesn't have anything to do with it. Like the younger ones think of him as their son, and then some of the older ones think of him as their brother, which is really funny to me. But then in the middle of this mess comes in Perrin and his army, and from there it's a chaotic mess, and they I actually did like I don't know whether it comes up in this book, but no, it comes up in the second book, but I actually learned a new word from this series called Kajasic. Like that's an actual word that just means like this Kajasic fly speck of a city. It just literally means like provincial or poor, and I never knew that word existed before I read the series. Yeah, but then in the
Interesting.
middle of the middle of the battle, Ashaman starts showing up out of the blue, through gateways and just start
They start paratrooping in.
they just start killing lots and lots of people.
After Rand explodes his box and stills a couple people.
Yeah, she stills 3 sisters, and he's just
I thought he
mad.
just shielded them. I thought he accidentally stilled one of them.
No,
And that's why she was
crushes
screaming.
them.
The other
Like-
2 were unconscious, but if he stilled one of them, he probably
Right.
Yeah. So, which is terrifying because usually it takes 13 Aes Sedai. At least that's the general number of people used to still somebody, and he just stilled 3 on his own.
It is said that the men are incredibly strong, and he is the Dragon Reborn, which makes him the strongest of them all.
Well, didn't Egwene do that too, though, or one of them?
Egwene stilled
one of the dark friends, the Black Ajit, yeah.
Yeah, and the Son of Tyr. I think it's Amiko. I believe it's Amiko.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. She did do that. I thought it was because she went at her in the dream world, though, at some point.
Yeah.
Partially, but she's also very strong and just was able to take the person off guard and just slammed a rock hard a stilling shield right there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But then Rand breaks out, and he's running around trying to find the women that nearly beat him, and he just really wants to grab onto them and still them, which is oh dear. You've done a bad thing here. You've enraged a really dangerous guy. Yeah, very, very much so. And then after this, Rand and the Ashaman erect a barrier around the wagons and allowed and some of the Two Rivers people managed to get in. Perion's we need to figure out a way to get out of here.
Oh, he also let some of the younglings go, which I thought was significant too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he let Gawain and God, their names. Is it Gawain or Gahal?
Gawain.
Gawain, yeah.
Yeah.
And Gawain didn't kill him. He didn't help him, but he didn't kill him. So he kept his word.
They managed to punch a way out. That's what they said they would do, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yep. And after that, what Blue describes as the most gruesome scene in the book so far happens, and that is not inaccurate.
No, it is not. People blow up.
The whole series so far, yeah.
Yeah, basically, Rand says, I told you to make weapons. Show me what these weapons can do. And Perion's dude, no, that's way too far. And Rand's no, do it. So
Rand's idea is that he cannot care about anybody, especially the Two Rivers, because it makes him weak and it gives them a weapon.
Yeah, but then with the Ashaman, he just says, unleash them on the Shido, break them. And Taim gives those 2 words, Ashaman, kill, and they just start killing them. They basically blow up and turn into bloody chunks. The rank after rank of human bodies are just mowed down and killed.
Essentially, they became ballista fire. They became tanks.
Yeah.
It was napalm, essentially. If he was really in Vietnam, this is napalm.
Yeah. And the Aiel, the Aiel look away. The maidens are this is they're grossed out by this.
The Shido ran away. Aiel ran away. Aiel never run.
Yeah, Aiel do like they don't like Aiel are basically like able to stomach anything, but then like they just see like their friends, like they're just going into this meat grinder essentially, and then a rolling ring of earth and fire, like this, the rock around them just blows up and just starts killing them, and like finally once they leave, Rand, once they start leaving, Rand, like he's sickened by this because I think most people would be sickened by this.
But he got what he wanted.
Yeah, he got what he wanted, a bunch of weapons, and they are definitely weapons. And the coolest part is they set this up by blowing up rocks and saying that
Yeah.
the weave isn't too different to use on the human body. It's like, I wonder what they could use that for. And then they tell you right at the end of this.
It's a literal Chekhov's gun.
Yeah. And like Perrin's also, like most of the people in it other than the Ashaman are sickened by this. Like Perrin's vomiting. Perrin's vomiting. Like I honestly like did cheer. I thought that was, when I first read this was awesome. But it's definitely like it is kind of like, wow, this is disturbing. I honestly like.
It is implied that they get a number of their own people in the blast, don't they?
I think so, yeah. I think by accident they might have, yeah.
Well, for the most part, everyone should have been back at the rear. But the fact that, I mean, obviously for Perrin to have made it all the way through, there would have been people probably still that had made that hole for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's definitely I kind of think that like it kind of, if I do think though if Rand, like it's kind of unfortunate that the Shido get away to kind of fight another day, and that because like not all of them died, and it seemed like their wise ones got out, including Savannah. Like that's the assumption, since she
There was one good wise one among that group, and they
were like back on a hill or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And then after that, Rand gives the Aes Sedai an ultimatum and says, "Kneel or be knelt." They're on their knees, so should you be.
That I was happy to see. I was like, honestly, like he's got to lay down the law with the Aes Sedai, or they're never gonna stop trying to control him. Even with this, they're not. But at least, he's made some kind of impression.
Yeah. Like,
bring it back. The Black Tower is such a bad name. It is such a bad name.
Bad name in this. Especially,
even Rand is like, yeah, this is a terrible name.
Yeah. And like they just, and like it seems as though like a lot of the Ashaman, like the ones that Time is picking, are assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, it feels like it's not the original group that was there.
Yeah, the original group, like it's like people like Joan and Adley, Damer Flynn, they seem like good guys, but people like Torval and Charles Gedwin do seem like they're a little bit on the skeevy side.
Maybe on the sociopath
One of them
side.
growled at Rand.
Yeah, one of them snarls around and nearly kills him, and he has to be called off by his master Taim.
Yeah, I was like, Rand's about to kill this guy.
Yeah, and that's kind of the end of the book. That's kind of the end of Lord of Chaos. A really, really good ending, at least to me, of a like kind of a slow-moving book that kind of focuses a lot on the politics of Rand dealing with stuff. There's a side story about how Loyal's mom.
Oh, we didn't talk about Loyal.
And Aerith, because she liked him too.
Oh, they're such a cute couple, but Loyal is such a coward from his own mom.
And Loyal talking about her ears, and then, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be crass.
That is so funny to me.
Loyal was at this fight. I remember that Loyal's at this fight, and we still don't really get to see what he fights like, and it's starting to piss me off.
Yeah.
We get one scene where he's like has a bow staff and he's swinging it around over his head, keeping Trollocs away from him, and that's all we've ever seen him do any real fighting.
Yeah, and like there is kind of a moment that where Perrin and Loyal are walking through the city of Kyrian, and like the bearded man looked grim, but the Ogier made the man look jolly.
Loyal, I has such a hard pick between Matt and Loyal. Who's my favorite?
Yeah, and like they make a side stop to go to Shatter Logoth for whatever reason. And
To close the way gate there, I believe.
to close the way gate, and they lose a maiden there, and they search around, but then they have to go because Nightfall and Shatter Logoth.
It's a bad time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens. We haven't covered like we haven't covered like in detail. We've tried to like go as fast as we can through this book, and it's taken us 2 hours.
Right.
We want to cover the big stuff, the big important stuff. The big thing that happened with the Ogier in this one is Loyal's teacher actually breaking into tears over how much the Ogier have kind of just faded away, and they haven't even noticed.
Yeah.
Until he starts marking off all the steadings and way gates that are just gone, and he's like, "Oh my god, my people are dying out."
Yeah, it's a really sad moment.
Or lack of haste has killed us.
It's also the fact that the humans, like, A, they're dying out, and B, the humans don't really even remember them and remember what they did.
Yeah.
They aren't like the interesting thing is that the Ogier aren't discriminated against at all. They're just mistaken for Trollocs in some places.
Right.
Because so few humans have any interactions with them outside of places where steadings are near.
Yeah, or like places where they frequently build, like Tarval and Kyrie.
Carnival and Kyrian, yeah.
Yeah, Camelin, not really. Pretty much all of the steading around like Camelin are dead.
Tyr
has one, yeah. Like there's actually a funny moment where it's like Loyal runs into one of his buddies from studying Shangtai and Tyr, and he's like, "What are you doing here?"
Nothing. And he's like, all right.
Yeah. And like the cute little Aerith is like, "I'm going to marry Loyal," and it's just so cute.
My loyal.
It's just Elder Hammond is being browbeaten. The thing that I noticed was that Covril, Loyal's mom's sister, is married to Elder Hammond, so he's basically being browbeaten by his sister-in-law into going on this wild quest.
Oh my god, that's absolute hell.
It's like, you are married to my sister, so you are going to help, and you're going to marry Loyal and Aerith once we find them.
Just imagine they arrive in the Two Rivers 2 months too late just to find out they have to go all the way back to Kyrian.
I know, poor dears.
Yeah, they're just like, they're gonna be so pissed.
And they would have arrived there about the time that Darmani's well is happening. So they get there just to find out Loyal did show up there and left again. And he's almost all the way back home.
Yeah. And it's so funny that it's just a comedy of errors all around. Though there's a good mix of good humor in this, but it's just like the stuff with Elaine and Nynaeve drags on really long, and I think that's the major problem with this. Thankfully, like when Egwene shows up, things like start kicking into gear. But then there's
Logain's gone from the.
Yeah, Logain is gone. Logain's vanished, And in the epilogue, Mogideon gets released by Arengar, who's been masquerading as this secretary. A little connection that I missed the first time was that Arengar is claiming to be the secretary for the Aes Sedai that Cimarog was torturing. That's why she was torturing that Aes Sedai, was to get information to feed to Arengar. So,
So many twists and tweeds as the Dark One webs.
yeah, lots of twists and turns. It's very interesting. I like how Robert Jordan kind of interweaves a lot of his plots and stuff, but
The Dark One has a lot of plans that feed into one another. He is a fantastic villain.
yeah, a big deal is the nice thing is that he's got a lot of like middle management that he can use to kind of like make things happen, but he's actually got a lot of good plans, even though some of his like middle management are morons.
I mean, they're useful idiots, and they will be disposed of when they're no longer needed.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even his failures are being used to promote his plans. Like, he's getting rid of the fact that he doesn't need with his failures.
Yeah.
It always feels like he's one step ahead of everybody. Even when he like fails, he's almost like two steps somewhere else.
Yeah. It does seem as though like this Doom as well is technically a win for the Shadow, because a lot of people died, and Rand al'Thor seems to be pushed more towards insanity with this act.
Yeah. I mean, like at the very start of the thing, he tells Demon Dread, "Let the Lord of Chaos reign."
And clap and leave title drop.
Yeah. And literally, the Dark One just sits back and goes, "This is where we just watch."
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the big thing, is like we're getting into kind of the point where Robert Jordan kind of falls prey to plot cul-de-sac and world building disease, which I guess is fine. It's just that he's going to add a number of tangents that we go on, and especially in books like 8 through 12.
I will say it's a nice change of pace from just chase after chase after chase. 3 books in a row that are just a chase scene. It's just
How many books am I gonna have to wait to know what in the world's going on with the sea folks, by the way?
The sea folk? What do you mean? Like the
They're
sea
just
folk?
like hanging out in their boats by like every port,
Right.
trying to talk to
The
Rand.
sea folk are on rivers for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think it's a spoiler to say just one.
Okay.
And they're probably trying to tell everybody about Sean Chan. It's like, hey, we're about to get massively invaded from across the sea.
Well, and weren't the Shan on like their islands too?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tremalking is being held by the Shan as of book 4.
And it's like every time Rand blows them off, I want to scream. I'm like, stop it.
Stop it, Rand. Just talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be some... And I'm interested to see what your opinions are, because Crown of Swords is kind of a... It's one of my... It's kind of my favorite. I really like... It's one of my favorites. But, like, there's a lot of things in just, like... Yeah, I admit this isn't very good. There's some weird stuff in there. But it's kind of... I'm interested to kind of see what you guys think of Crown of Swords when you guys get finished with that. You are going to get a lot of your answers to your questions in the next one. It is kind of interesting that Robert Jordan's really building up the confrontation with Samael.
Yeah.
For this
Yeah.
book.
Something tells me something bad's about to happen to Rand with that.
Yeah.
Maybe Samael isn't as stupid as he looks.
Maybe. That's a good possibility. Any theories that you have going forward, like after Doom Eyes Wells? What do you think is going to happen in the next book?
I hope. Obviously, we're going to have a long siege with Torvalen and the rebel Aes Sedai.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not going to be done in one book.
No, it's not.
No, I didn't think so.
Oh, just
I hope.
they have to get there first.
Oh yeah, that's.
They're on the move right now.
They have to move through a massive area of White Cloak territory, I believe.
I think they're moving across Altara into Murandy right now, which is not White Cloak controlled. They're not going through Amador.
Yeah. I think Pedro Nile is going to handle. He's off to handle something that's happening in the mountains. Which it kind of sounds like whatever is beyond the waste is starting to make its way over as well. So we're going to have something else other than Shan Chan. Shan Chan are probably going to start invading the coast.
Yeah, I think that's been set up pretty. That's going to happen pretty soon, based on the setups we were getting with Matt and the epilogue there.
Yeah,
like how Ebu Dar seems like it's in the path of a hurricane, but based on like proximity, Amador seems like it's going to get hit by the hurricane first.
Yeah, and like I said, it does seem like maybe that's part of why the sea folk are there at all the ports. Like, so if they are on their islands, then maybe they've been trying to come to Rand for help, who's been blowing them off. Yeah. So I think it might be one of those things to where like he gets there a little later than he maybe should have and has more issues because of that.
Yeah. Let's see here. I don't think Rand's going to go back to Tyr anytime soon.
Okay.
I mean, like, so many of his problems can just be solved with him going to get Calidor. Just go get the sword. Basically, with the sword, you could just walk up to Pedro Nile and go, "Do you believe I'm the Dragon Reborn now?"
Yeah. I think even like Pedro Niles is a zealot in many ways. He's not a crazy zealot like Asinawa, but he's a cynic in many respects. I don't know if you would believe it. I think it's an Aes Sedai trick because that's just how he's wired. Like, you think that Rand's a false dragon. And Aes Sedai do.
When you show up with that sword, it's gonna be hard to deny it.
Yeah. It would be. Yeah.
I don't know. I think Pedro Nile is going to die in maybe like the next 3 books, probably. I don't think it's going to be Rand who kills him. I think it maybe be Morghese.
Okay.
Well, they were kind of setting up there being a lot of characters within the White Cloaks that want him dead too. So.
Yeah, like
I'm going to be honest. I thought Morghese was going to kill Ravine.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like that was just such a natural setup. Either Morghese or Elaine kill him. Or one of the boys. Probably like a combined force of all 4. But no, Rand just comes in, Balefires. Dragon Ball Z Balefires him out of existence.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of the interesting.
Mogideon, I think Mogideon's going to be like hanging around to like the very last book. She seems like she's going to be a slippery one to get.
Yeah, and like it does seem as though she's in hot water from the Dark One, since she's like getting like freed from being caught is like, ow.
I'm having to come drag you out of the fire again.
I would like to see, since Gowan seems to know that the tower was trying to kill him, I would like to see somehow him figure out that Egwene is the Amerlin seat for Salidar and join up with that side. That would be fun.
That would be
I
nice.
don't want them fighting against each other. No, can't happen. I'll be sad.
Yeah, that would be very, very sad. But,
I think we're probably going to lose a Forsworn in the next book.
Okay.
I feel like either one of them is going to turn on one of them and kill the other in some sort of scheme or plot, or maybe Samael actually goes up and tries to confront Rand or something. I don't know. That feels like that's a setup for a long time, though.
Yeah, he's building it up he's been building up for the past 2 books now. Is the confrontation with Samael. Hopefully we get it soon.
Well, you know when we get it. You've read these books like 13 times.
I know. You're
being facetious.
facetious. And I'm kind of plagued to the fact that like you guys have not read it, and I'm just like, hopefully we do get this, hopefully we do get that, and I'm not telling you anything.
God damn it! You're using my own magician tactics against me. I hate it.
Indeed.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully. But so, your predictions are Pedronile is going to die in the next couple of books. We're getting Samael or one of the others is going to die. But Samael's the main pick just based on we've gotten a lot of build up for him.
Yeah, he's in Rand's crosshair first.
Yeah. And then Gawain is going to switch over to the White Tower side, or at least that's a hope. That he's gonna, after he finds out that Gawain is the Armelin, he's going to turn cloak and go over to their side. That's a possibility. Any other predictions before we close this thing out? I will take that as a...
No, I got nothing.
Alrighty. Well, thank... Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I'm sorry. My wife is just making noise in the background.
Oh, you're fine, Pixity.
They say you're fine.
How is everyone doing?
Yeah, we're fine, but we're still going, sweetie.
I know.
Oh no, we lost Blue.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, I think maybe her internet died or something. But considering like today it's the end, Dr. Crow probably has places to go, things to do, magic to make.
There is a bed that is calling my name.
Yeah, that too. Well, thank
Go
you.
subscribe to Blue. She does readings of fairy tales.
Yes, it's really good. And she does really good artwork. It's very, very good. I put a link to her channel and Dr. Crow's in the description below. Please go off and find them. It's very, very impressive work.
Yes. And keep your eye out soon because me and Blue have been working on a project. We've got a sneak peek of it on the last Spider Showcase, so you should go watch that if you haven't yet.
Alrighty. Well, we will call it a night and say bye.
All right.
Go!